The Golden One Center opening its doors for sports and concerts, but also opening up a new way of thinking about the urban core of California's capital city. Putting up that kind of attraction is now tapping Sacramento's general fund in unexpected ways, as ticket holders aren't pulling into the parking garages that were meant to generate the revenue needed to pay for the construction bonds taken out for the arena. As we've been reporting, that means at least $5.1 million will have to be diverted from the fund used to pay for city police, fire, and public works to pay back bonds. I'm joined now live by two men who publicly debated the financing for this project way back when. Republican strategist Tab Berg and CEO of Region Builders, now Region Business, Josh Wood. Gentlemen, good morning to you.
Morning.
Nice to have you. Tab, the Downtown Sacramento Partnership reports that during the first 5 years since groundbreaking in 2014, G1C has helped funnel $6.7 billion worth of development into our area. No doubt that the arena is an economic engine. But as you brought up, when the arena was just a dream, you think this new financial trouble is something city leaders and arena proponents should have seen coming.
Yeah, I mean, there were clear indications. I mean, in fact, the very first year that the bond was enacted, it was falling short of payments from the city. So from our group's perspective, the groups that I was working with, we supported building the arena. We just wanted better protections for taxpayers to ensure that critical services like police and homeless outreach were not going to be impacted by the bond.
And Josh, should the powers that be have seen this coming?
I mean, if the powers that be could have seen homelessness coming and the wave that Sacramento's had experience with that, and COVID-19 coming, I just don't think that those things are possible. But the reality is what are we talking about? At the end of the day, the Kings have been a massive win for Sacramento. They have brought in over $2 billion of tax revenues. There's 61 new projects that we can credit with being built downtown, midtown because of the Kings. And frankly, Sacramento, without the Kings, loses the brand. And the only thing we're left with is the state capital. We don't want to be Bakersfield. We don't want to be Stockton. And we need to be a world-class city. That means having a professional sports team. So the Kings have been good for Sacramento. Are there things that could be done as this deal has happened, back in 2015 to improve upon it? There's obviously things that could be on the table. The reality is they're bringing in a ton of tax revenue to the city in the form of hotel tax, sales tax, and property tax. The city could do a lot more to just take little portions of that to cover this. The reality is that the city has been asleep at the wheel financially on a lot of different things. And then when you allow a homeless crisis like this level downtown, and then put in policy after policy to make it more difficult to drive downtown or park downtown, the city has created this issue. You know, it's a different leadership group as far as who the city council is right now. And they, in my opinion, have done a terrible job of managing the finances of the city. And frankly, not just a terrible job of managing the finances, but we're living with the reality that we have a city that is not safe and it's not clean. And that's not inviting. And the reality is that it's not anyone's fault but this current council.
Josh, there was a time when the city was still very much in the deliberation phase about the arena. And during that time, you and I interviewed almost every day about the developments. Last fall, we interviewed almost every day as much about Measure O, which relates to the homelessness issue that you just brought up. It's the ordinance that you helped draft, the measure which allows in part any citizen to sue the city for not addressing a problem area. You seem to be touching on the fact that you think homelessness is a reason people may not be coming downtown and parking in some of the garages that were supposed to generate this revenue to pay off these bonds. Is that the line that you're drawing? Do you see that as a direct line?
It is a major contributing factor. There are two ones that I see as additional contributing factors. One is you have this homelessness crisis downtown. It's the epicenter for the region. It's the epicenter really for the state because of the poor policies that have been enacted. That's why we did Measure O, and that's why we've worked since then with the city manager to do some of the reforms that you're seeing are starting to work. But the reality is there is so many years of neglect that was done that it's going to take a long time to reduce that and make people feel safe to come downtown, to park, to be able to walk from a game back to the parking garage and feel safe. So that is a big piece. But also, the city hasn't done much to bring back its own employees. So they're not in those garages, and it didn't fight the state when the state really didn't return. So we've had kind of a neglect all around as far as doing this. It's amazing that it's only that much of a shortfall, but the reality is that the Kings have done an amazing job putting on 150 events a year and bringing in a ton of events, people downtown. That has helped. But the overall parking revenues were built off of a model assuming a certain base of parking that evaporated. So without the Kings, this problem would be much, much worse.
All right, Tab, Josh has been talking about homelessness as a reason why. He also in the past has brought up the fact that the city could have created some outside financial partnerships with other cities to kind of help boost what really is a regional amenity. Tab, do you think that homelessness is the thing that needs to be solved? Do you think we need to try to reach out for some of these other partnerships even now?
Well, clearly homelessness is a gigantic problem, but a big part of this problem too is that the deal was aligned incorrectly from the start. The reality is that the very first year that the bond was enacted, it fell short. The city fell short, and this was before COVID and before the homeless impact, fell short of projections. They overprojected the value of parking. They gave away the 3,700 most valuable parking spots to the Kings. They gave $125 million worth of special sweeteners. The emergency fund that was created has already had to pay out $18 million to backfill it. So it's not just the $5.1 million this year. Back in 2020, they had to pay out $1 million. The city had to pay out $1 million extra for the bond. We've paid out the entire emergency fund of $18.7 million. And now we have another $5 million, and there's another $7.5 million that they expect to pay out in the next 2 years. So the deal itself has a problem, but absolutely homelessness, if you go downtown, and I go down almost every day, if you go downtown, there's a little bubble of safety around the arena and Doco,
and it starts to feel different.
Wiped out everywhere else.
Okay, gentlemen, we're going to have to put a pin in it right there. Huge issue, and as this gets worked out, we'll be checking back in with you for maybe some different ideas about what the city might be able to do. We appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.